Outlast in 2024, not good. I mean, it's not bad either, and it's complicated. Back when this game came out, there weren't nearly as many games of its kind, so I can understand why it was maybe really good at first, but in hindsight, it's got some issues. There's one word that will separate this game from being scary to being a joke. Experience. If you've played horror games, if you've been around the block, if you've done this crap, then you've done this crap. Outlast is not going to be any different than a multitude of games you've played. It is a little predictable, it's very linear, it's kind of just run and hide. But the thing is, at the time of release, that was not like the most overdone thing in horror games. So, you know, it's kind of hard to really judge the game. Miles Upshur. I believe he also has the that triple Alan Wake, Ethan Winters drip going on. Yeah, he's also got the drip. Yo, look at it. He's got that drip. Like, this opening shot is fantastic. Like, the graphics look so good. And look, you can see up there, the guy sees you and then like runs off. The opening is amazing. Like, honestly, one of the best horror game openings I think I've seen in a while. It's about when you get to go to the basement. That's kind of when the game drops, and that's very early on. Experience is the sole defining factor of whether this game's any good for you or not. Because by the time I played this game for the first time, I've been there and I've done this. Like, it's not... Like, the scares aren't bad, but the majority of them are hilariously predictable. To the point where I even remember them, I will show you them. It's been a bit since I played this game, but I will still be able to show you this. I forgot that I have to actually press the jump button. I forgot how to play video games. Like, this opening's good. It kind of feels... I forgot this time, but I remember that that's there. That's a decent scare. It didn't scare me this time, but that's a decent one. Like, the opening is good. The opening is scary. But everything after the opening is kind of repetitive. So, like, you see mechanics like this, and you kind of think, like, oh, well, I can't see very well, so they're probably going to use that for a scare at some point. Battery, like that. Top secret government documents. I'm stealing from the government. It's like, ooh, spooky, okay. Tiny little things, you know. It's alright. You kind of see all this blood and stuff, you're like, oh, okay, so this place has gone to crap. Coolio. So there's crazy people here. You know, like, this is all good. This is all a good way to kind of get you settled in, you kind of... to see the threat that will confront you. There's a guy running. It makes the place feel hostile before you're actually in danger. And that's alright. That's alright. And now, for what I believe to be one of the greatest jump scares in gaming. They're like, okay, press or hold left mouse button to open the door. That is genius, because it integrated it into the tutorial. Like, that's just fantastic overall. And then you see the big guy. You're like, oh god, that guy looks dangerous. And then you see another one of these squeeze moments. And you're like, okay. Hit through here. Again, really good. That incorporates the gameplay mechanics into the scare. I like that. But it's all scripted. So it's done.
And who are you then?
My name's TheGamingFan. I'm here to review your content. I'm here to here, have a look. Let me have a look. Okay.
I see. Merciful God, you have sent me an apostle.
Okay.
Guard
Content.
your life, son. You have a calling.
Thank you for the content. Thank you for the content. I'll work with that. So, those are the best jump scares, arguably. Two of the best jump scares in this game, and they're done. They throw their best at you, and they're done. Hey, you two, don't look at that. Don't look at that down there. That's just it's. I guess it's right here, over here. Lots of blood. I don't think YouTube's gonna like this, but. You know, and you know that's whatever, because you're so far away, it doesn't even matter. Spilled his jam and jelly. Yeah, just don't judge my boy for being clumsy. He got a little work to do. And let's talk about the whole running and hiding thing. I'm so conflicted on it. Like, it works sometimes, and you'd be surprised how many... There's a lot of people out there who genuinely think if you have a gun, the game's not scary. Like, that's it. If you have a gun and you can kill the thing, if you can kill the horror, it's not scary. But what they don't understand is, when your only option is to run and hide, there's only so much you can actually do in the game to scare the player. How many options do you have? It's like, for example, that little pig thing. Like when you were squeezing through the thing and he grabs you and pulls you out. That's not a commonality in this game, really, because it would be too easy. What's stopping the guy from killing you right then and there? He threw you through the window. Okay, well, what if there was no window? You're a dead man. But if you have a gun, you can do more of that. I don't think I've ever found this document. You can do more of that if you have a gun, because you can then defend yourself. But just because you can defend yourself doesn't mean the scare doesn't work. Cry of Fear. Bro, Cry of Fear is fantastic at that. It's literally one of the scariest games with a gun I have ever played. People regard it as some of the scariest games you can play on PC. And yet there are so many people who think, oh, you can shoot the horror. Who cares? But, on the opposite side of that, there's no variety in just running and hiding. That's why Alien Isolation is so fun. It mixes the two. The alien is a threat that you can't kill, but then they break it up with humans and androids to give you a little bit more relief. They relieve you a little better. And just to elaborate even further on this point, there's so much more that goes into a scare than just, do I have a gun in my hands? What's the atmosphere like? Does the scare pertain to the story? How loud is the scare? How surprising is it? Is there anything that's building up to it? Is it predictable? What does the design of the monster look like? To pretend that a scare is determined by, do I have a gun or not, is just ludicrous to me. If you could play as the world's greatest detective who has mastered every form of hand-to-hand combat possible and still get jump scared, I think I rest my case. Also, as for this guy, he's creepy, but like, so when you play the game for the first time, you come around here, you see this guy, and you're like, okay, this guy's freaky. I don't like this guy. Is he gonna jump out at me? And you think, okay, well, I don't really have a choice, I have to go around him. You're kind of just like, no, don't move, don't move, don't move. And the same thing for these guys, you're like, don't move. But they're kind of chilling, they're not really a threat. So now you think, okay, so I just went from the other side of this part of this hallway area, all the way over here, to get a key card, and nothing's really happened. And then you think, so if they wanted to waste my time, why wouldn't they throw a jump scare somewhere in there? Right? So then you come back to this guy, and you're like...
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues.
Good thing we can heal. Like, see how experience can kind of ruin that a little bit? Because you're like, okay, why would they waste my time? What was the point of getting a key card? Why wouldn't the door just be open? And the guy is just kind of in the middle of the hallway. He looks like he's prepared to do something, right? But if you're not an experienced horror gamer, of course you won't see that coming, right? You're immersed. Look at all this. It's immersive. This game looks fantastic. But when you know it's coming, even before you know it's coming, right? It's like, okay, finally, security. And then you see this. The Alien Isolation does this way better than Outlast, let me tell you. So, left mouse button to hide. So, what you think when you see that is, okay, so I'm going to have to hide from something. Whereas what they should have done is take the prompt off, not give you the option to hide, and then wait until you actually have to hide to then give you the prompt. If that makes any sense. Alien Isolation does it better because you can hide, but it takes like another 30 minutes of gameplay before you actually need to do it. So you're kind of always on your toes. Let's go ahead and shut the security off, or shut the security off. Only if this loser downstairs, the absolute moron, he's like, I'm not letting you out of here just yet. Restart the generator. Oh, hide in the locker, yeah. I thought that was after the fact. I don't know why. Hide in the locker. It even tells you hide in the locker. Instead of just saying hide, and then you have to understand to hide in the locker, they kind of hand it to you. We're pressing escape. Okay, good. So then in a moment like this, right? Again, all you can do is run and hide. So of course he's not gonna find you. He's not gonna find you. He looks at the other one. That's scary, right? But when you've played enough horror games, you kind of understand how they work a little bit. You're like, well, he's not gonna find us because we don't have a way of defending ourselves. He's just gonna kill us, right? Press X to punch. that actually be hilarious, Scooby. That would be a funny, like, I want to see like a horror game parody that like you can't actually kill things, but they tell you that you can, but you can't, and they just get you killed on purpose. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, he moved on. Yeah, it's small things like that, right? Now, while the game has already used up most of its scariness, I will admit one more thing. This part down here is also really good. As far as being a first sort of hide area, it's really well done. Okay, crap. I always pick up documents. I don't need to. I don't want to. But I always pick them up. I keep forgetting I have to press spacebar instead of doing it automatically.
Who's that?
Like, okay, that's good. And then you hear the water slishing, and you're like, oh god. I'm not alone. It's time to actually play the game now, right? Really good intro. Really solid. But again, if you have experience, there's only like 2 good scares. Also, pro tip, don't hide in the locker directly after turning this on. So like, this area is really good. It's dark. And you already have an excess of batteries. Because upstairs wasn't really too dark. So you didn't really need to use them. So now you use them down here. And this is a really good intro. It is directly after this part where the game kind of takes a huge nosedive. But not for everybody. That's the weird thing. Some people find this game to be genuinely terrifying, and I see it, I understand, but at the same time, it's kind of immersion breaking when you see jump scares coming a mile away. I don't remember every single one of them, but I do remember most of them. I guess he didn't know I was here. And there's kind of a bug in this game where if you hide right after activating these generators, he will just stand next to your hiding spot and not move. He won't check the hiding spot, he'll just stand there. So that's why I instead will just crawl behind him. And I also like the darkness because you have to rely on sound. You don't get to kind of see how simple the AI is, you know? Like I said, I like the beginning. The beginning is great. More batteries. Feels very nice to be stocked up on battery. But they don't keep you too stocked up. I like that too. They don't keep you too stocked up. Just enough. Unless you already know like what you're doing like I do, but that's besides the point. It's well done. And also this area is purposefully dark, so they do need to give you a lot of batteries. You can kind of just hide. That's kind of like half scripted, where whatever you do is up to you, but it's kind of implied that you're supposed to just kind of hide behind under this thing. How he doesn't hear you breathing is beyond me. You have to wait. So he kind of chills there for a second. Like I said, he just kind of chills there for a second. That's like, okay. Oh boy. This is not a good situation to be in. He didn't lose me, did he? That's the kind of thing you want to not let your players discover for a while. How dumb your AI is. He usually sees you and chases you at that point. But anyways, right, so it's all about experience, because to most people this would be terrifying. I've been here, I've done that, and a lot of it has kind of lost its luster. Like I said, those first 3 jump scares are pretty good, but I will show you the really predictable ones. To be fair, I don't think us leaving now would matter a whole lot. If they just show up and then Billy kills all of them. He kind of just wants us to see all of it first, I guess. Makes a little sense, except for the fact that our odds of survival are garbage. So this part's kind of cool. This part's not meant to be really, like, ultra scary or anything. Oh yeah, those guys. That's pretty good, because it's just like a little bit of foreshadowing.
It's not. They're in my blood and they want me out.
Yeah, there's that guy. That's not too predictable, but it also doesn't really have much sound to it. So it's kind of just kind of a whatever jump scare. You alright, buddy? I always forget how to get out of here. Like, every time I play this game, I always forget. Oh, here we are. Again, these are okay, but there's no real, like, urgency to the sound design. Again, moving towards the ledge. There's room for a jump scare here, right? You're alone all in this world of space. And now we're on the other side of the cage. So this is pretty good. The two, the brothers. So now it feels like you're in constant danger, right? And they play around with that. But again, so experience is this game's worst enemy, and I will show you. I don't know why that was just a guy muttering there. In fact, they should have removed the blood off the walls and just had him muttering that. To be a little more obvious. Good for you. Here's these faded lockers again. This game's got kind of a bad habit of forewarning its own danger with locker placement. And it's kind of messy. So it's like, okay, why would you place lockers somewhere unless you had to use them? But again, freaky. But you know... But you already know there's a place to hide. It's like, okay, well... So now I've got to run, but... Even as a novice player, well... We see lockers right here. So shut that. And then just hide. That's an easy solution. There's no real tension when you already know where to hide. You know what I'm saying? Here he comes. They're also kind of programmed to always check the locker next to you. And it's also telling you, hey, you're faster than these guys, so don't be too scared. There's even a set right here. Like, you're always safe. So the running and hiding isn't really all that. Again, another half-scripted dude, this way. Hide faster, please. So, it's not that this game isn't scary, it's just experience. I've been saying it, experience is this game's greatest enemy. Honestly, screw it, why not? I don't know if he got stuck in an animation or what, but... There's even a spot right here. Ooh, battery. The gas chamber. Phrasing. And also this game has another bad habit of... Chase sequence, you're safe. Chase sequence, you're safe. Chase and rinse repeat. So now that we're done with the chase sequence, don't look at those guys, YouTube. And their threatening is, you know... It's pretty good. It's just that even the spots where they do appear is kind of like not really worth the talk. Also, they just kind of decide to disappear on you. So when you've got perfect locker placement, you've got a formulaic structure. And when jump scares are super scripted, it's like, you know, how much is there for you to be really scared of? But to be fair, YouTube definitely doesn't like decapitation, so I will avoid that. But again, if you don't have experience, this stuff's probably terrifying. That's why I'd rather play games like Alien Isolation. It's all adaptive. There's no one jump scare. Just a moment. And then it's like, well, they're not going to kill you, because otherwise it'd be game over, right? That's the problem with the running and hiding formula. You have to do it so well that it actually means something to be defenseless. But when it's all scripted like this, there's no real tension. And then this part is a little stupid. Like, I get what they were going for, but this part's kind of dumb. So this big guy appears, right? Hit the button. It's like, uh-oh, he's coming for you. You better run. And then this thing opens. But it's kind of easy to miss. So you can kind of get stuck and die. It's a little annoying. And then if you die, you kind of understood that there's no real, like, there's not nearly as much tension to it. So you came through the glass and then... Adrenaline, my man, get up. You got it. Oh, that saved your fall. A pile of flesh and blood. Also, this isn't Outlast Only's fault, but I cannot stand when protagonists don't talk. They all do it, and I understand a lot of them are annoying when they talk. As you can see, I get a little distracted here, so I'll continue on my own point. It's extremely immersion-breaking when people don't talk in horror games, and I cannot stand it. Now, of course, there are times where you shouldn't talk, such as stuff like Amnesia the Bunker. I mean, Who are you talking to? When are you going to talk? And then you have prime examples like Alien Isolation, where you play as a character who interacts with other characters when you're not being hunted down by a giant xenomorph alien piece of crap. I just don't understand why horror games can't introduce talking. I know there's a lot of games out there that are pretty bad with it, but like, I don't understand why horror games in particular are the ones that always have to go for the silent protagonist. I mean, I know there's games like Call of Duty that do it, but eh. I'm not saying these sequences are bad. It's just that they're not effective enough, right? They're effective to the newcomer, but not to anyone else. Oh, he saw me. Okay. Well, I mean, you opened the door for me, so I guess I can't complain too much. Oh, I can leap over these? Oh, heck yeah. I never actually do that. Is he about to meet me in the intersection? No, he jumped. Man's right behind me. Holy crap. Haha, fatty. Can't get down here. I didn't remember that. I just didn't know if it was this one or not. There is a really bad jump. Also, these jump scares aren't very loud. Like, my game's not quiet by any means, but... Also, this guy's pretty creepy.
What do we use it for?
He just stands here and just kind of freaks you out. Another bit of an obvious one. Because he's just kind of sitting there anyways. So, like, this one's pretty bad. So, you know you have to crawl here. Or, like, walk around it. So what do you think this guy's gonna do? Like, you think he's just gonna let us by? Red Barrel can't think we're that stupid. Wrong guy. I apologize. That would be the wrong guy. It does do it eventually, it's just not that guy. There is a guy like that, just not that one. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to reload batteries. Let's pull it up. It's this guy right here. It's like, do you think he's just gonna let us pass? And then he tries to subvert expectation the first time. Nice moves, the man. Miles Upshur. Again, that's kind of the problem with run and hide. If you're not constantly running and hiding, it's all scripted. And if you're like this game, those scripted sequences are not very good. Again, so now it feels like, okay, so it's been a while since we've been in any real danger, so find a way out of the sewers. Like, yeah, okay, it's a maze of sewers. We're probably going to get chased at some point. And to be fair, I've played this game a lot, so. Or enough. I played this game enough. This game's just so fascinating to me, because it feels like it should be one of the scariest games ever. And then it's just kind of not. I don't know, it's a bizarre case for a horror game. Flush the water by turning the 2 valves. There's the big boy. Again, we're not lacking places to hide, so it's a bit predictable. The AI is fairly simple, it's just that the game's so realistic looking. It's kind of hard to think of it that way. And now it's like, well, why is that scary? Because now I can just crawl under here. See, like, so many small things. Small but very important things. But again, when the game came out, this was pretty unique stuff, and the game did look amazing for its time. It still does hold up pretty good. The mouths are a little weird, but, you know, who cares about that? Those trumpet guys are working overtime here. Blah. Trombone? Maybe not trumpet. Trombone. You might be thinking, oh, well, you've played this game already. It's predictable. But this is honestly not too far off from how I felt the first time I was playing. A lot of the jump scares just didn't get me. Because it felt so set in place, you know? It felt so static. Because if you're not running and hiding, then you have to use cheap jump scares. And I kind of knew that. Hence the whole experience thing. It's even making me yawn. A horror game is making me yawn. It's like I've been saying, experience, experience, experience. Why are steam valves the scariest things in these games? Also, there's a jump scare right here. But it's tensionless. Because he's just looking at you. He backs off. Like, I don't know, this game's such a weird case. It's like everything is just almost there. Yeah, the doctor is kind of a exclusively shock value kind of guy. Also, if you didn't see that coming, that's your fault. Again, some of the sound effects aren't very loud either. That's part of what makes a good jump scare. It looks like I picked that up. The doctor guy is not any different from any other enemy. He's just there for shock value. He's there to cut your fingers off, so you kind of are like, ugh. And it does work, to be fair. You do feel kind of like, ugh. It is effective in that sense. This part's pretty creepy, too. One of the good chase sequences. By chase sequence, I mean, you know, guy chasing you down. It's really good how you have to like kind of play with the sound, kind of like the first area where we got chased by somebody. And again, having to work on the sound is a very genius move. It's a good way to switch things up. Too late, sucker! I'm out of here, nerd. Absolute nerd. They also don't overdo the water things. It does get kind of slow after a while. It's like, okay, I'm safe. Well. Well, not necessarily. Kind of towards the later part of the game, I kind of forget stuff. I would like to not with all that. Now we're safe. That guy was a bit of a did I say monopoly? Anomaly. He's a monopoly. He's got a monopoly on this whole area. I hate to say this, but it kind of shares a little of what makes Layers of Fear not so good. It's kind of a one-trick pony. But this one actually does have running and hiding. Layers of Fear is just running. Ground floor of the mail ward. So, okay, cool. Friendly voice. Finally, something that's not...
You're in the right place here, buddy.
Hey.
I don't know if I should continue, because honestly the rest of this game is either just shock value, or it's basically the same gameplay over and over again, with like one or two more okay scares. Only one of them is absolutely not predictable, but then it leads to like one of the coolest moments in the whole game, so... I don't know. Also, how the guy is, like...
Thanks so much for coming.
I think, again, with a no-voice protagonist, it's extremely annoying. So it's like, he's not trying to say anything right now. And only now does he start to resist. Like, bro, you've been well-conscious for this whole time.
I'm a bit worried.
Otherwise, like, what's... Like, honestly, this entire game is kind of nothing but shock value when you think about it. And again, it's like, all the chasers are pretty much the same. If you're gonna have a game this long, you kind of have to diversify a little bit. And they do, at the end, but only at the end. They finally do something a little different with their stalker. See, like, I would say it's because I've played this game before, but in all actuality, it's partially because the game itself is kind of bad. It's kind of more just to see how the story goes after a while. And if that's your driving force, methinks your game's not good. You can have the best story in the world, but if it's not fun to play, that kind of affects everything around you. Again, game looks fantastic. I remember when I first saw this game, I thought, man, games are never going to look better than this. And naturally, I was wrong. And now we're kind of back to the whole, oh, I'm safe. 2 valves, that means you know we're going to have a chase sequence. And honestly, I'm so bored of this game at this point. Technically, I've only been streaming this game for like an hour. I'm already insanely bored. I don't want to continue. Like, the whole game is just so formulaic that the experience cuts through it like a 1,000-degree knife, right? And that's pretty much all I have to say, because the rest of the game is pretty much the exact same, except for Billy is a slightly more interesting stalker at the end.